A modern Nimitz-class aircraft carrier weighs 100,000 tons. It is packed with billions of dollars worth of electronics, GPS, and radar, and is built from steel plating thick enough to stop a missile. But 4,500 years ago, someone assembled a massive ocean-going vessel out of cedar planks. They didn't use a single metal nail. They didn't have compasses. And yet, if you placed that ship in the water today, it would still float perfectly. We are taught to believe that our ancestors were terrified of the open ocean. We imagine them clinging to the coastline, venturing into the deep water only by deadly mistake. But the physical evidence tells a completely different story. Ancient wooden vessels, some the size of modern football fields, were crossing open oceans thousands of years before Columbus was even born. Their creators solved complex hydrodynamic problems that still leave 21 STCENTURY naval architects scratching their heads. Today, we are going to examine 5 ancient ships that, according to modern logic, simply shouldn't have been able to sail. We will uncover the forgotten technologies that made them virtually unsinkable and find out how these wooden titans didn't just float. They changed the course of human civilization. 1. The Khufu Solar Ship, Egypt. Let's start with the oldest intact ship on the planet. A vessel that lay hidden in a pit at the foot of the Great Pyramid for almost 5,000 years. In 1954, Egyptian archaeologist Kamal el-Malik was clearing debris on the south side of the Pyramid of Khufu. Beneath a layer of massive limestone blocks, he discovered an airtight pit carved directly into the bedrock of the Giza Plateau. Inside lay 1,224 pieces of wood, carefully disassembled and arranged in strict order, like a giant ancient IKEA puzzle with a blueprint we couldn't read. When restorers spent 14 agonizing years putting this puzzle back together, what emerged was breathtaking. A magnificent vessel measuring 43 meters, or 141 feet, in length. This was the Khufu Solar Ship. But here's what baffles marine engineers. There is not a single metal nail, screw, or bracket in the entire hull. The massive cedar planks, imported from the forests of Lebanon, are held together purely by wooden pegs and rope woven from halfa grass, which grows along the Nile. When this specific grass gets wet, it shrinks and tightens while the wood expands. This natural reaction pulls the planks together so tightly that the hull becomes completely watertight, transforming into a solid monolith. Experts who studied the design stated that if this ship were launched into the ocean today, it would sail without a single leak. Think about that. A 4500 YEAROLD technology that works better than some modern yachts with their synthetic glues and chemical sealants. What's even stranger is that the Khufu ship has no keel. Without a keel, a ship cannot easily resist sideways drift, yet the Egyptians built these ships serially. Around the Great Pyramid alone, archaeologists have found 5 such boat pits. This wasn't a prototype. This was a perfected, standardized technology that served an empire thousands of years before the Phoenicians even learned how to rig a proper sail. If you are fascinated by the hidden technologies of the ancient world, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And let me know in the comments, what country are you watching this video from? I love seeing where our audience is located. 2. The Greek trireme, Greece. The Egyptians mastered the Nile, but they weren't deep-sea conquerors. The true revolution in naval warfare was sparked by those living on the other side of the Mediterranean, the ancient Greeks. Imagine a wooden projectile 37 meters long, barely 6 meters wide, weighing around 50 tons. Inside this cramped wooden shell sit 170 oarsmen, stacked in 3 overlapping tiers. Each tier is perfectly offset from the one below it, ensuring the oars never tangle, while keeping the ship's center of gravity incredibly low. This is the trireme. the ultimate war machine that dominated the Mediterranean from the 6th to the 4th century BC. The philosopher Aristotle called it a rowing machine, and he was absolutely right. But there is a crucial detail Hollywood always gets wrong. The men rowing these ships were not slaves in chains. They were highly trained, free citizens. The synchronization of 170 men meant the difference between life and death. If you missed a beat, the oars clashed, the ship lost its momentum, and you became a sitting duck. During an attack, those 170 men would strike the water in perfect unison. The trireme could accelerate to 9 knots in seconds and reach an estimated 14 knots during a ramming strike. To put that in perspective, 14 knots is 26 kilometers per hour faster than many modern sailing yachts. Its primary weapon was a massive bronze-sheathed ram at the bow, positioned right at the waterline. The tactic was brutal and required surgical precision. Accelerate to maximum speed and smash a hole into the enemy's hull below the water. In 1987, the Hellenic Navy actually commissioned a full-scale working replica of a trireme named the Olympias. On sea trials, a volunteer crew managed to hit 9 knots and turn the ship 360 degrees in less than 2 ship lengths. Naval historians were stunned. The ancient historian Thucydides recorded an event where a trireme covered 300 kilometers, 185 miles, in a single day to deliver an urgent message. The crew rowed without stopping, eating on their benches and sleeping in shifts. Thousands of lives depended on the raw speed of this wooden missile and the endurance of 170 pairs of hands. 3. Zheng He's treasure fleet, China. The trireme was a masterpiece of speed, but it was a coastal predator. It couldn't cross an ocean. For deep water, humanity needed a completely different approach, and it was found on the other side of the planet. In the year 1405, a fleet emerged from the Yangtze River and like anything the world had ever seen, over 200 ships carrying nearly 28,000 men. At the head of this armada stood Admiral Zheng He. The flagships of his fleet were called baochuan, or treasure ships. And their dimensions still spark furious debates among historians. According to the official Ming Dynasty chronicles, the flagship was about 137 meters long. Even by conservative estimates, these wooden leviathans were more than twice the length of any European galleon of that era. Skeptics long argued that a wooden ship over 100 meters long would simply snap in half on the ocean waves. But the Chinese had a secret weapon, watertight bulkheads. The interior of the hull was divided into isolated compartments. If a reef tore a hole in the ship, only one compartment would flood, while the rest remained bone dry, allowing the massive ship to keep sailing. European shipbuilders wouldn't figure out this life-saving design for another 400 years. In 1957, excavations in Nanjing uncovered an actual rudder post from one of these Ming-era shipyards. It was 11 meters long. Just the rudder post was longer than half of Christopher Columbus's entire ship, the Santa Maria. Zheng He commanded a floating wooden city 87 years before Columbus set sail with just 90 starving men on 3 tiny caravels. But after Zheng He's death, a new emperor ordered the blueprints burned, the shipyards dismantled, and the building of ocean-going vessels strictly forbidden. The greatest fleet in human history was left to rot at the docks. Why do you think an empire with the most advanced navy on Earth would voluntarily destroy its own fleet and isolate itself? Share your theories in the comments down below. 4. Polynesian double canoes, the Pacific. Chinese ships impressed with their sheer size, but to conquer the largest ocean on Earth, size was useless without a different kind of ancient software. The Pacific Ocean covers 1/3 of the planet's surface. Europeans didn't reach these remote islands until the 16th century. But when Captain James Cook landed in Hawaii in 1778, people had already been living there for over 1,000 years. The Polynesians populated every habitable island in the giant triangle between Hawaii, New Zealand, and Easter Island. They achieved this impossible feat on double-hulled voyaging canoes, two wooden hulls joined by crossbeams with a platform in the middle. The largest could carry over 100 people, along with livestock, seeds, and fresh water for a month-long journey. But their greatest technology wasn't the boat, it was their navigation. They had no compass, no sextant, no written maps. Their GPS was the stars, the ocean swells, the wind, and the birds. On each island, there was a guild of master navigators whose status rivaled that of chiefs. They memorized the exact rising and setting points of over 150 stars. They could read the refraction of ocean waves bouncing off unseen islands hundreds of miles away. They observed the migration patterns of the Pacific golden plover. When a navigator felt land was close, he would release a frigate bird. Since a frigate bird's feathers aren't waterproof, it cannot land on the water. If the bird didn't return to the boat, it meant an island was nearby. For centuries, arrogant European scientists refused to believe that primitive people could intentionally navigate across thousands of miles of open ocean. They claimed it was just blind luck and random drifting. That arrogance was shattered in 1976 when a reconstructed double canoe named Hoklea sailed 4,000 kilometers from Hawaii to Tahiti using exactly 0 modern instruments. The navigator relied solely on the ancient methods of his ancestors. The computer simulations confirmed it. The Polynesians mapped the largest ocean on Earth using only human memory and the ultimate mastery of nature. 5. The Viking drakkar, Scandinavia. The Polynesians conquered the Pacific with memory. But on the opposite edge of the world, another culture faced a much darker, colder, and more violent ocean. The North Atlantic is a graveyard. Storms appear out of nowhere. Waves tower 10 meters high, and the freezing water will kill a man in 20 minutes. It was in this brutal environment that the Vikings built a ship that terrified Europe and changed the map of the world, the drakkar, or the dragon ship. Behind the intimidating carved dragon head lay an engineering masterpiece that was centuries ahead of its time. The secret of the drakkar was its clinker construction. Overlapping oak planks just an inch thick were fastened together with iron rivets. Between the planks, they stuffed tarred animal hair or moss to make it completely waterproof. This design created a hull that wasn't stiff and rigid, but incredibly flexible. It acted like the spine of a serpent. Instead of smashing against massive storm waves and breaking apart, the Viking longship would flex, bend, and glide over the water, absorbing the kinetic energy. American mechanical engineers recently analyzed the design and admitted that the Vikings intuitively understood the physics of flexible structural integrity long before the science of material stress was even invented. But the drakkar had one more deadly advantage: a draft of just half a meter. This ship could cross the violent Atlantic Ocean and then immediately sail up shallow, inland rivers. An invading army could literally pull their ships onto a beach, carry them over land, and strike a city from a shallow marsh. Enemies never knew where the attack would come from. The Vikings emerged from the sea, from the rivers, from nowhere. It was on these open, freezing, deckless ships that Leif Erikson crossed the Atlantic and reached North America around the year 1000 AD, a full 500 years before Columbus. Conclusion: from an airtight pit beneath the pyramids to the freezing shores of North America, these 5 ships from 5 completely different civilizations broke every rule of what we think is possible with wood, rope, and human hands. The Egyptians built a ship without a single nail that is stronger than modern vessels. The Greeks turned a rowboat into a guided missile. The Chinese built unsinkable wooden cities. The Polynesians crossed the planet's largest ocean using only the stars in their minds. And the Vikings engineered a flexible hull that could survive a hurricane and sail up a stream. We live in a world where we need a satellite in space just to find the nearest coffee shop. Perhaps the true greatness of a civilization isn't measured by the microchips in our pockets, but by the courage to face the terrifying unknown in a vessel you built with your own two hands, knowing that if you miscalculated even a single plank, the ocean would not forgive you. Which of these 5 ancient ships impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the unexplained technologies of our past. Until next time, keep questioning the impossible